Tehran's war has gotten so wild, even Hamas now sounds spooked by what Iran might hit next. When Hamas starts pleading with Tehran, you know the IRGC's missiles are flying way beyond the original script. Hamas is effectively on its knees to Mujtaba Khamenei, begging him to stop Iran's war from torching the neighborhood. If even Iran's closest ally is this nervous, what exactly does Hamas think Tehran is about to unleash on the region? Hamas's panic over neighboring countries hints at a storm gathering over the Gulf that even Washington and Tel Aviv may be underplaying. Amid the raging Iran-Israel war, the Iran-backed group Hamas publicly backed Tehran's right to respond to US and Israeli attacks. Hamas said Iran had the right to respond, by all available means, under international norms and laws, even as it warned about escalation risks. At the same time, the Gaza-based movement urged Iran to stop hitting neighboring states, and to keep its retaliation tightly focused. In its statement, Hamas appealed to its brothers in Iran not to drag nearby countries into the conflict as strikes intensify. Hamas' statement read, and I quote, "While affirming the right of the Islamic Republic of Iran to respond to this aggression by all available means in accordance with international norms and laws, the movement calls on the brothers in Iran to avoid targeting neighboring countries," unquote. Hamas's stance reflected growing fears US-Israeli strikes on Iran could spiral into a much wider Middle East war. Hamas, which has just come out of a devastating two-year war with Israel in Gaza, framed its latest message as a stark regional warning. The group called on the international community to act quickly to halt the Iran war, urging an immediate end to hostilities. It had already condemned the assassination of Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei on the war's first day as a heinous crime, blaming the US and Israel. In its tribute after his killing, Hamas stressed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's long-standing backing for the Palestinian cause and resistance against Israel. The movement said the late Iranian leader had provided crucial political, diplomatic, and military support to Palestinians over many years. By now urging restraint, Hamas seemed intent on preserving that strategic alliance without inviting Iranian strikes on neighboring Arab states. Its latest message showed concern that Iran's missiles could hit countries hosting US forces, triggering domestic backlash and wider instability. Hamas also appeared to reassure regional patrons that the fight should remain focused on Israel and US assets, not broader Arab territory. The appeal highlighted how Iran's partners fear being dragged into open regional war just as tensions peak across multiple fronts. Even while defending Iran's right to respond, Hamas pointed to a wider push among allies to contain the conflict spillover. At the same time, Hezbollah said on Friday it was fully prepared for a prolonged confrontation with Israel if the fighting expands. Hezbollah Secretary General Naim Qassem also publicly downplayed Benjamin Netanyahu's threats against him, insisting that Israeli warnings did not intimidate the group. In Lebanon, we are fighting a legitimate defensive battle to confront the vicious Israeli-American aggression. We are facing a brutal and dangerous aggression which is literally posing an existential threat. After the 15-month ceasefire agreement, this aggression had not ceased, but rather the pace has lessened. In order to evade confrontation and aggression while accomplishing its goals, Lebanese parties were used to prolong the aggression. So, we were not enduring a proper situation but a barbaric action that lasted for 15 months. We have repeatedly voiced our belief that the opportunity will come to an end, that there is a limit to the relentless aggression, and to impatience. The battle was staged solely for us, not for anybody else. It is a Lebanese battle that was waged out of a legitimate defense that everyone should engage in. Moreover, the diplomatic initiative in Lebanon was a complete failure. The Lebanese government did not succeed in achieving sovereignty or protecting its people. Yesterday, I was informed that Netanyahu threatened me with assassination thinking he would intimidate me. Listen, Netanyahu, Imam Ali said, death is the best guardian. So I'm guarded by death. When death comes, no one can prevent it. Therefore, your threat is meaningless and worthless. Just look at your situation. Based on our narrations and Quranic verses, if someone becomes more corrupt on earth, it will be a sign of their downfall. We didn't cause the aggression. Stop saying that. What is happening in Lebanon is related to the Israeli-American aggression, not the resistance. The resistance is a response. We have said repeatedly, let Lebanon take action, let Israel and the aggression leave the country. End it, and there'll be no problem between us. For the record, as a resistance, the Battle of Uli ul Base, those of great might, taught us lessons and morals. That is why the enemy has no military objectives to fulfill. The resistance is fighting them by employing mobile tactics and targeting their soldiers, without having a fixed position. When he threatens a ground incursion, we tell him that this is not a threat but rather a failure you will plunge into, given that as long as there was an advance and invasion, the resistance fighters will be able, through their field movement, to attain gains and achieve some results by direct face-to-face confrontation with the enemy. We have fully prepared for prolonged battle. God willing, they will be stunned on the field. The enemy's threats are not terrifying to us, and the enemy will see our strength. Be aware that the powerful enthusiasm the fighters of the Islamic resistance have elevated to the level of divine love and dedication for the sake of God. We urge the government to refrain from making free concessions, as this galvanizes the enemy to become greedier and prolongs the war.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.